What's up, everyone? Studfit here. We have another episode of the Rundown, this time on the Kamek Tour, aka the Sammy D Tour. This is a much anticipated tour for Kamek. Super fans are going wild and crazy because this tour has it all. So, before we get into all that, Tabor, thanks for joining us, man.
Hey, really glad to be here, Studfit. One of the highlights of each and every tour that's released is not only being able to see it on the first day, open it up, see all the details, all the new things that they added in, but also to be able to meet with you, talk about it to your viewers and the audience out there who's willing to listen, and just kind of dive into the details. So I'm ready to get started.
Yeah, and this channel, although it says Studfit, it's really the Studfit and Tabor channel, and I couldn't do it without you, Tabor. So thank you so much for being a part of this and going through this with me. As always, before Tabor, I was always looking for information going on behind the scenes, some of the meta level strategies of who got buffed, what are some of the items that seem to be reappearing and ranked, etc. And the rundown was born, and I was stealing Tabor's data. Now I'm just stealing it in public. And putting it out in front of you guys alongside Tabor. So thanks for joining us. For those new viewers, please like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. We're growing this membership, and we've actually gone up to, I think, now 40 members. So continuing to grow. I cannot do this series without thanking those people you see on this screen. Thank you guys so much for allowing us to be able to take this series of the rundown to the next level, and then also launch the podcast. So if you haven't listened to the podcast, definitely check it out. You probably have seen some of these super studs join us on that podcast. Everyone from the videos from Natt to you saw the introduction of Big Smith, of Larry 98, the face reveal last tour in that podcast. So just so thankful for these members, the super stud members. Really have been pivotal to help us launch and get this podcast up and running. But we have so many other great memberships. The studs all have me as in their in-game. They're able to ask questions. You're going to see a lot of questions in the rundown, specifically from these stud members. And really, it's for the benefit of you, the viewer, because they're asking questions about something, and we'll be able to, because we do this maybe a day or two after the tour is released, we're able to kind of go into further depth on some things that our viewers are telling us exactly what they want from our content. So that's what this is all about. I think we have about 3 or 4 slides where we get into that. But just so thankful for all these. You see some of these lighter colors, some of our newer members. I'd like to just mention Karim the Dream upgraded to the Super Stud. I'd like to have him on the podcast here soon. Mikey Mike, Brian Not Static at All, Ulysses, Rachel J, Lozies, Colin Fowler, and then Rose Blossom. So some great new members. Excited to have them a part of, and they're chatting up in the Discord. Full disclosure, I've been crazy busy this week. I actually did some traveling for work. I was hoping to do this presentation last night. The Wi-Fi was so terrible, we pushed it off. So kind of get that out of the way. That's I might reference that a few different times because I really haven't even been able to enjoy Kamek as much as I wanted to. And also, shout out, I got this shirt, Knights, a good friend of mine from a long time ago, found this up in a store up in, I think, New York, and I said, yeah, buy it, I'll pay for shipping and get it to. So I'm so excited to support it, and just huge thanks to Knights. But ultimately, this is such a fun game. This is such a cool community, and I'm so glad to have so many of my friends around me. With that being said, we have a crazy Kamek tour. As I mentioned, everything's Kamek. We have a lot of new items that are all brand spanking new. These are not reskins. These are not recycled old items. These are brand new, and they are all Kamek. In fact, the pipes all have some type of Bowser Jr. Minions relation. This is truly a epic tour for Kamek. And I think you, probably just like myself and Tabor, opened up the app, looked at the skill for Kamek, and were blown away with Coinbox. Myself, I'll be honest with you, when I saw the Coinbox, I was a little depressed. I was like, man, I last tour my shop was not flowing full of tickets, and I just used a bunch of tickets to take, I think it was Luigi Painter to 7, and I was like, man, this is, and then I saw there was no tickets in my tier shop. I saw no tickets in my regular shop. I saw all the items, whether it was premium challenge or whatever, I already had at 7. And honestly, I was feeling a little depressed. I was on my way to the airport though. I did some pulls there for my car, not from my favorite place, which is the Throne. But I ended up having some very, very successful pulls. You wouldn't believe me if I told you, and really it just makes you feel bad. So I won't get into the depth of that. But I have been kicking myself literally for 3 days straight that I should have had record and shared it with you. But it is what it is. I'm enjoying him so far, but that's because I'm gonna pull anytime I see a Coinbox driver. Tabor, you're in a different situation, and that's kind of why I love having your opinion on these videos, because I was a pandemic player. I joined late, and I am a pay to win. And Tabor, you are free to lose. So tell me, was this a pipe that you pulled on?
Yeah, so I wasn't as quick on the gun as some people were. I know Sammy pretty much live opened up that app, saw Kamek, saw Coinbox, and immediately did a 10 pull like right there. I typically I have a little bit of a different philosophy. I kind of don't enjoy the game as much until I can. I kind of let it be my reward because I have, whenever a new tour comes, I have many hours of work ahead of me to do for my spreadsheet and the different things that I need to do to update for the fans out there that use the spreadsheet for their own convenience. So I look at the game, I do today's challenge pipe, but I don't pull any pipes, I don't do any freebies, I don't run any courses, I just go all stats for a while. So I usually don't get to enjoy the game until close to 24 hours after it's released. Not quite, a little bit, that usually the next night. But I did what I needed to. I ran as many courses as I could to be able to unlock those 2 free pipes, because I wasn't going to pull anything until, I usually don't pull at all until I at least do the free pipes, just to see, if Lady Luck's on my side. So I did all that. I didn't get anything on the free pipes. And I knew, just kind of looking ahead, sometimes I'm like, I'm not going to pull until I do the all clear pipe. Well, I knew the all clear pipe wasn't going to have any of these items in it. So I was like, let's go ahead and do this. So I pulled, and I had a green pipe, nothing. I pulled again, and I got Penguin Luigi. And I was like, okay. And these are 10 pulls. And I was like, okay, well, that's not very much.
10 pulls.
I pulled again.
Okay.
I pulled again and got the Dream Glider, which was fine. I was excited about that, something new. Pulled again, green pipe. Pulled again, green pipe.
Oh my gosh.
Pulled again, and I got Kamek's Zoom Broom, and I was like, okay. And at this point, I had, I think that was 10 pulls, so I had about 48 left because of the 2 freebies. So I was like, well, I got to get Kamek. I just got to keep going. I'm kind of committed now. So I did another pull, and fortunately I got the star, and Kamek showed up. So I was able to get all 3 of the items in 6 10 pulls. Still a lot, but I was just glad when I had 38 items left in the pipe, and I got everything that I needed. So I didn't have to drain it any more than I had to. Quick question for you, Studfit, though. Yeah. You said you opened up the game, and you saw that it was Coinbox, and were depressed. Were you hoping for a certain skill, or just not Coinbox?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me it was just the fact that it was Coinbox is what threw me off. I knew it was going to be Kamek, and I was, if it had a super skill, I think I would be happy to have it. But I remember when Shy Guy Ninja came out, and I think there were a lot of people debating, should I pull for Shy Guy Ninja, should I pull for King Bob-omb Gold, and I think my recommendation was definitely get King Bob-omb Gold if you can. And Shy Guy Ninja, he might come back again. I think, for those Dolphin Plus, you're going to probably pull for him, and you're going to want to. But for, the Gold Pass only, it's going to be tough to go for Shy Guy Ninja. I feel I was coming in expecting kind of that same thing where maybe he had some kind of goofy skill, and it would be like, oh, okay, the collectors are going to pull on him. Sammy D would pull on him anyway. But for me, it's like, maybe I pull, maybe I don't. Maybe the special pipe has more value. But when I saw Coinbox, I just was like, all right, so there's 14 tickets down the drain, and like now I can't work on Peach Happy. Now I can't focus and help these other. I had just gotten 10, 12, something like that uncapping tickets. I was looking at maybe triple capping something else. I don't know. For me, it was just knowing that these coins, these tickets are going to be depleted instantaneously, and I think after I pulled him and I got him as many times as I did, I felt much better. I felt very, very excited. I felt like and it's crazy how our mood can quickly change based on an item or just a reveal. And I ended up getting him to 7 and had 2 tickets the following day come in my daily shop. So I walked away very, very happy. But I think in general, this is we have the potential of like a Bowser Santa where we are kicking ourselves for not getting him. And I think he is going to be, and we'll probably get into it in the next couple of slides, he's definitely a Coinbox driver you're going to want to have. Now, here's the caveat to that. And this is actually a question, I think, from E. Deedle, who says some have speculated that Kamek will be available in an all clear pipe or potentially in permanent in the pipe because he has his own cup. And I remember last year, Pink Old Peach did not get her cup until that summer, and she was in that pipe. And I remember saying, and again, it was a long time ago, so probably a different group of friends. I didn't have any channel, so you can't pull up that video. But I remember saying like she's gonna be permanent in the pipe, and I remember some people saying like she's Coinbox or she's not gonna be permanent in the pipe. And there was a while there where we had all the special skills. Each person in the pipe had their own special skill, and since then things have gotten squirrely, and now we have all kinds of skills in there. So I do feel that Kamek will be permanent in the pipe eventually. My guess is by the end of the calendar year. I don't think it'll happen next tour. Like I don't think this is like this time going forward he'll be permanent in the pipe. But I do feel like he will be permanent in the all club pipe because he has his own cup. So the answer, Edidal, is yes. Now, with that being said, just because he's readily available doesn't mean you should wait to pull on him. I think you should pull on him if you are able. I know it's tough, right? This is bait. This is Nintendo trying to get everyone to use their rubies leading up to an anniversary pack and pipe and everything else. So this is Nintendo's way to deplete the resources before people need resources. And they know people are going to have to stock back up. And they're going to win in that scenario. But I think from this perspective, you have to pull for him. I think maybe you keep him at level 6 and you let the game take him to level 7. If he is in the all clear pipe, if he is in a 100 pipe, getting that dupes, getting them is going to be perfectly fine with you. But you might just want to have to kind of take it easy when it comes to taking him up that level. So to answer your question, Tabor, I do think that there are some ways that you should approach going for him, but and honestly, Tabor, I think what your problem specifically on pulling for Kamek, you didn't tell me where you were sitting, but I can guarantee you weren't sitting on the toilet because there's no way you would have that bad luck unless you just were completely disbanning all the facts that you know about Mario Kart Tour pulling, which is you got to do it on the toilet.
Yeah, I was not on the toilet. I was actually at my classroom desk during lunch, actually. So, I mean, and you've alluded to a lot of this, but honestly, there is, and we're going to cover this in a lot of these additional slides, but really, there's so many different reasons why, if you have the resources to pull for Kamek, there's honestly, I don't see a single one other than a pending anniversary with some good pipes coming up that you want to save some rubies for. I don't know of any reasons why you wouldn't. Now, there's always a gamble, obviously. Whenever you have, Mario Sunshine with Giant Banana, that's kind of a unique item that no one else has as a high end. You have Shy Guy Ninja with Boomerang, that's a unique item that nobody else has with high end. And they're two very different stories. They both started not amazing, and Mario Sunshine is still not amazing. I mean, he's useful. When you use him, you like using him, but he's not has a high value, whereas Shy Guy Ninja has taken off. So but honestly, with most people being revealed recently with Coinbox, especially with all the things that we're going to talk about the benefits of having Kamek this tour for both now and in the future, if you've got the resources, you want to do that. I was sitting on about 720 rubies going into this tour. And when I stopped pulling on this pipe, I was at 455, and I was happy. I was like, that's like a full pipe right there. I'm happy with that going into the next couple tours. So I was fortunate with being able to save up and be where I was. But yeah, I mean, if you have the resources, I'm saying this like people haven't pulled from him already. I know most everybody has already done this and already have him and are trying to figure out how high to take him. But if you're still on that fence, one of those few people, then if you've got the resources, it's worth the gamble.
Yeah, solid points there. I don't think I need to add anything. It's certainly anytime you have a Coinbox driver, and I think it's been a tough summer in wanting to go into these 100 pipes because we've had so many great skills. We've had 2 Coinbox drivers. We've had Lucky 7 drivers between Painter Luigi and Peach Happy. And then we've seen Shy Guy Ninja come back. We've seen 100 special pipes with Coinboxers in it. We even have a great pipe this week with this special pipe with the minions. But it's just tough, man. I remember going through the winter time. I think it was like January to maybe March. Just like Penguin Toad, I'll skip it. Rosalina. Fire Rosalina, I'll skip it. Pauline Rose, I'll skip it. Like I could skip like back to back. I haven't been able to skip 100 pipe yet since Tuxedo Mario. So it's been actually I think it's Penguin Luigi Painter. So from that perspective, like you cannot save rubies for it's tough. And I think Nintendo's doing that on purpose. There's even a little rumor that Kamek originally wasn't going to have Coinbox, and they added it at the last minute. I don't know if I believe all the conspiracy theories, but I do believe that this is a tough time to save, and Nintendo's doing that on purpose. Now, as we move into these new items, we have some very interesting aspects to having these brand new items, not reskins, including Kamek's Zoom Broom, which Tabor, I know you have a little rant about this Zoom Broom.
I love the name Zoom Broom. I don't have a problem with that at all.
Oh yeah.
I don't know why it has to be so possessive of Kamek's. And yes, it is Kamek's, but any other set that's come out with a driver has not been Pauline Rose's Rose Taxi. It hasn't attached the person's name to it. So I don't, people are gonna use Kamek and Kamek Zoom Broom and the Dream Glider all at the same time, which is great. But you know the dynamics of this game. Down the road, you're going to end up having to use the top shelf of the Zoom Broom, and Kamek's not top shelf of that course, so you're going to have to choose something else. So is Shy Guy Ninja going to have to borrow and ask permission from Kamek to use his Zoom Broom? Why does it have to be all permissive? Excuse me while I drink Tabor's water bottle. And speak into Tabor's microphone. I just don't get it. Like, why does it have to have his name in it? It's a little minor thing. I know when Sammy first saw it on his video, he loved it because it was associated with Kamek, and that's great. He's a Kamek fan, and anything with Kamek's name in it is going to be awesome to him, and that's fine. But just from a logistical standpoint, I don't understand why it has to be like that. Sorry. So
tell us how you really feel, Tabor.
That's just the tip.
You might want to just hold off that thought for your therapist and get that off your chest with them.
Yeah, you mean Tabor's therapist.
Tabor's therapist. Yeah, exactly. No one else's. So yeah, some great items here. I think at this point in time, there are so many people that have gone in for the set. So hey, I got Kamek within my first 3 pulls, but I want this Zoom Broom. I want the Dream Glider. I want it all. And I think that's, I get it. If you're a collector and those items, they look very cool. But I will say, Kamek is what you have to go for. The Zoom Broom, I could see it being, very powerful because it's new. But the other aspect of it, which we'll get to here in a second, is like it's such a very unique shaped cart. It makes you wonder if they'll go even more unique in the future. Maybe we'll see the motorcycles come back from those who were familiar with some of the older Mario. I never used those, so I'm scared that could happen, but certainly within the realm of possibility. Now, One of the things that we did back when, as I mentioned to that Ninja Tour, is that we kind of took a little deeper look into what kind of tracks King Bob had. So I wanted to put this together for you. I think this is really, really helpful as you're looking at this value. And so feel free to, we're going to be providing a lot more information, but we're going to be breezing through it just based on time. So feel free to take a screenshot. You can also find this information in a number of different Discords. We also have this on Reddit too that can be saved as a JPEG, and you can zoom in and take a look at it. But this is worth your own research. But
And my spreadsheet, which, put a little plug in, I'm going to be releasing a video soon about how to access, how to view, how to interact with my spreadsheet out. So look for that link here pretty soon coming out, because this is all available on this, plus a lot of other things that you're going to see.
Yeah, I was going to plug it too, because it is going to be an awesome resource, an awesome way to look at so much data. I think Tabor, your spreadsheet has so much information, it can be a little daunting. But I think after watching this video that you're going to be coming out with, probably later today as you're watching this video, definitely we'll put a link into the description. It's going to help make it less daunting, and you're going to be able to see information like this at your fingertips. So don't be scared. It will help you to be able to look up stuff like this. But I want to put this in a pretty easy way to see all the tracks that Kamek has and what other Coinbox drivers or what other drivers have those tracks. It's so odd. That still shakes my head. The number one improvement for this game would be able to click on that track and be able to see what other top shelf drivers, karts, gliders have that specific track. It'd be so easy fix. So Nintendo, if you're listening, that'd be so easy. And now, of course, that would take content away from me because it's so hard to see. It needs literally somebody to provide it to an audience. So maybe I shouldn't be wishing that for that. But just to take a look here, there are 4 specific tracks where Kamek is the only Coinbox driver. That's this Remix Ghost Valley 1, which you're very familiar with. The Remix Vanilla Lake 1. Sunset Wilds, which is a level 6 track, and then Sunset Wilds R. So you see here, those are each in blue, right above the track, but you can also see what other drivers are there. And just for simplicity's sake, I also put the logos of another Coinbox, Lucky 7, or Boomerang, because those are the important skills. There's no Giant Banana overlap with him, but if you're looking at, say, Remix Choco Island 2R, 4 Coinboxers, and you look just below that, the Airship Fortress RT, you got 4 Coinboxers and a Lucky 7 driver. So there are some tracks where Kamek is completely useless unless you don't have Dry Bowser or Dry Bones Gold, or you don't have some of these drivers. You most likely have at a higher level. But the ones that stick out is that Ghost Valley 1, Vanilla Lake 1, Sunset Wilds R. Now, of course, you kind of have, we've had this discussion before, where you kind of have Coinbox and Boomerang at the same tier, and then you have Lucky 7 kind of that tier below it. So there's some people that have already taken Shy Guy Ninja to level 6, level 7, and you're going to say, Kamek, is he worth taking to 6? I already have, a driver on this course that's really, really good. And so from that perspective, I wanted you to kind of see that the Vanilla Lake 1 and the Sunset Wilds both have the Boomerang. In fact, even Luigi's Mansion is a clustered one as well, in that you have 2 Lucky 7 drivers, one of which is a Super, King Boo, and then you have 2 Coinboxers, and then you have a Boomerang. So a lot of options there. A one that's decent is going to be this Choco Island 2, just because you're going to have Kamek there, and then King Bob Gold. Some may not have at the highest levels because he's still kind of new. I think of things in kind of generations. We kind of have almost 6, I guess 0.1 years, which would be 6 months, is kind of a generation. I know we kind of talk about seasons, but still King Bob Gold was just from last season, last generation there. So I think he's still going to be pretty new. So if you have Kamek jump ahead of him, no, not out of the realm of possibility, but King Bob Gold still is an awesome driver. He's going to be the one most likely use on that track. But Tabor, you're the one that helped put this information together. I just rearranged it so it looked a little bit easier to understand it visually. But what are your thoughts here on Kamek and his overlap with other Coinbox drivers?
Yeah, so I mean, did he need to be put in RMX Choco Island 2R and Airship Fortress RT? No, because there's so many coin boxes already on there, so that's just, it's just cluster. But what's really impressive are the ones that you had mentioned, the ones that are in blue on this slide. All of those, he is the only Coinbox driver on here. Now, right now, Kamek only has 8 courses as a top shelf. And so if you look at it percentage-wise, 4 out of those 8 courses, 50%, he's the lone Coinbox driver. So if you have him and you have him at a high level, you're going to use him over anybody else just because he's Coinbox. Now, the other thing to take into account for, like we talked about, is Boomerang. And so you really have to kind of look into this, and I'm going to dig deep a little bit more in the future about, like, for the Boomerang drivers, for Shy Guy Ninja, he's the top shelf driver, I believe, in 27 different courses. How many of those courses have a lot of coins to collect? Because there's always some courses that have more coins than others that are possible to be able to collect. And, the ones that aren't very high, then it's probably not as good to possibly use that. Obviously, you could do Boombox, that would be helpful. But in terms of coins that are on the course, you'd want a lot. So Kamek's I think he's starting off really well. He's got great value right out the gate with 8 different courses, 4 of them being the lone Coinbox driver. But again, we're going to talk more about statistics, but for this tour only, looking at Kamek, I mean, his value is out the window. Now, he's not a top 15, top 10 driver. Nobody is when they first come into the game, but he is higher up in the rankings than most drivers ever debut. So he's on his way to doing something big and something special. The only caveat is that, as we know, whenever anniversary comes, there's typically some city courses that come, and I'm not a fan of city courses being buffed, drivers being buffed with city courses, because, again, until they're part of the regular rotation, we never know if we're going to see them again, so that's just kind of a wasted spot on their top shelf course. So we'll just have to see what's in store in these next couple tours, but in terms of where he's at right now, he's got great value.
Yeah, usually Nintendo makes it really hard to decipher if this person's going to be really valuable or not, because they might only have like one track that seems to be their best option. But Peach Happy, I remember that because it had all the cheap islands, it was like, oh, this is great. This is great value. We had to put a lot of faith in Pedro Luigi, and it hasn't been panning out. But Kamek to have 4 tracks where he is the only Coinbox driver, that's a great start. It's scary to think about what the next few tours, the next few buffs will look like. I remember, I think it was 2 or 3 tours ago when Peach Happy was released, and I think I had to make the prediction. I was like, why did she start with so many tracks? And one of the reasons why is because I thought, hey, maybe it's because they wanted to give her some cities, and maybe we'll go the next 2 or 3 tours without having cities, and that ended up kind of being the case here. So interesting to see how they do buffs. Interesting to see how they start out. Everyone starts out with low value, but I think for what it's worth, Kamek has a well above average value to start with, which is rare. Now let's talk about the Zoom Broom. E. Deedle asked a question. He's going for the new item trifecta. How good is this funky looking, awesome as hell Zoom Broom? And so again, we want our members to be a part of this content. They ask questions, we give them the answers. So we kind of kept up there the hitbox algorithm that we have, which is essentially taking the 2 times the width and plus the length, and so you're kind of able to see it, this assuming that you're moving or you're drifting into like a 90-degree angle. And again, you're not always doing it that way, but that's what we determined to be the best way to measure this hitbox as compared to just like the actual box that it's covering, because there's many times where you are turning, and even if you think about this Ghost Valley remix, you're doing a lot of turning. So I do think it is really important to keep this algorithm. But people were wondering, it's a very unique shape. Is it, how does this compare to some of the other hitboxes? So the width actually is, it's actually not as wide as you'd think. It is wider than most carts, but it's not like it's not one of the widest, which I think you'll probably see here in a little bit kind of these exact metrics, but it's about the same as the Blue 7. They have the same exact width when it comes to those pixels and the calculations that ER Curtis does. So thanks to ER Curtis, he's been updating this and collaborating as well. But the cart length, it's a really, really long cart, but it's not as long as you think. Here are some carts that are longer. The Banana Master, Surf Sailor, Sunny Surf Sailor, Cucumber Iron, Cucumber Dasher 2, and even the Paintster is slightly longer. So it is long, but not the longest. So it's good to keep that in mind. And then the way that this algorithm works is essentially, as we mentioned, kind of 2 parts with 1 part length, and that's based off of drifting at a 90-degree angle. After that algorithm takes into consideration those points, and again, that was different from the Hitbox video that we did a few months ago, so I wanted to articulate that. However, these big carts, they're not tweaking the algorithm is not going to really move them around too much. In fact, there's probably very little movement at all. But the brown off-roader, the off-roader is the number one when it comes to that hitbox size. Sunny Surf Sailor actually has some unique shaped tires, different shaped tires than the regular Surf Sailor. So it actually is number 2 on this impact effectiveness, which is that algorithm output there. And then the Crawley Cart number 3, Banana Master 4, Paintster 5, Surf Sailor 6, this is what I was mentioning before, the B-Dasher Mark II at 7, Cactice, Cact-X 8, Cometail 9, Dark Trickster 10, Iron Cucumber, and then the regular Cucumber is 11, and then the Dasher 2 12, and then the Romby Runner, Romby Rider is right there leading up to it. So of course you have multiples that are just reskins, but essentially these are the carts that have a better hitbox than the Kamek Zoom Broom. So from that perspective, 20 is great. It's above average. But it's not getting as many coins as some of the on this list. So this is more of kind of an update to the Hitbox video, but it also kind of taking into consideration a very unique size. So Tabor, you obviously pulled for it. I don't know if you've had time to use it, but what are your thoughts on the Kamek Zoom Broom as you drink your Tabor water?
Yeah, this is Tabor's water bottle. It's very different in terms of its feel. It honestly reminds me a little bit more of like a Surf Sailor cart, but it's a little weird because obviously when you start, you got the broom in your face, and then you have the 2 wheels that are really close to each other in the back. It's kind of more like a scooter than anything, but I mean, I like it. I got used to it pretty quick, and I know that there's some people out there that they feel that different carts control differently, and that's probably true, but I think what I mentioned when we brought this up on Kart Talk is that like I adapt really quick, and I'm able to use it, and I'm able to kind of understand the handling as I use it for a little while. So it worked pretty well, but I really like it, especially on the RMX Ghost Valley 1, just because it's a nice course to have a Coinbox on. It's a fairly thin course. There's a lot of wide courses out there where those coins can literally go anywhere, and you really have no chance to scoop up as many as you want. But on the thin course, on some of those, it works really well. Now, the only downfall is of RMX Ghost Valley. It's almost like RMX Ghost Valley 1. They're almost all trick tracks because there's just ramps everywhere, and they got the stairs, and you got everything going on, and that can hinder you a little bit whenever you've got a coin box going and you're trying to pick up coins, and you got to go up and you got to go down, and you jump over coins that you didn't mean to, and things like that. So it's a little different, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely like a top 15, top 20 cart in terms of hitbox size, and it's thin. But as you can see on this illustration, if you angle it the right way, then you can really widen out that. You can use that length to your advantage and pick up a lot of coins. So it really works well. I like it. I don't like the name at all, but I like using it.
Yeah. No, it's cool. It'll be interesting to keep using it. And as I mentioned, we'll see what kind of creative carts they come up with. And we have a paint tube. We got now a Zoom Broom. I wonder if motorcycles are on the horizon. I'm scared, Tabor. All right.
Well, if motorcycles on the horizon, that better be the same time that they introduce a Kong family alt, because those would go well together.
There you go. I like it. All right, so Big Smith asked a question: as more Coinbox drivers enter the game / get buffed on tracks, should Boomerang drivers also get some sort of buff, as the likelihood of getting a boombox increases? Which is a really, really good point. And I do think that's the case. You know, we're like, hey, you know, we're Coinbox to death. This is not Mario Kart. This is Coinbox Kart. Like that Coinbox is king. This game is all about the Coinboxes. If you don't like Coinboxes, you haven't embraced Coinboxes, you're just making life harder for yourself. With that being said, the more Coinboxes you have, the more valuable the Boomerang drivers are. So again, super small print here, but just go ahead and take a screenshot. We can wave. Perfect time to take a screenshot. And then be able to zoom in and take a look at this information. Or as we mentioned, check the resources we discussed. But these are, and I asked Tabor to do this. Tabor, thanks for putting this together. But it's also probably some information you have in your spreadsheet. So I assume. So definitely check out Tabor's spreadsheet video. But essentially, these are all the tracks that have Coinbox drivers on the second shelf. So anytime you are running a race, if you are, the rule is that if you are using a top shelf driver, the bots will all be second shelf and or third shelf, or the bottom shelf. But the ones that you want to consistent of, they're going to get 2 items, and so you're going to want to take a look to make sure that there are Coinbox drivers on that second shelf when you are using a Boomerang driver. You might already know that, but I asked Tabor to put together this list. So Tabor, as you're looking at this list, tell me what sticks out to you. Are there these tracks are great for boomboxing, and we wanted to put this resource out for the community just to be able to have as a reference. Just know that this is as of August 27th. So Tabor, tell us a little bit about what stuck out for you.
Yeah, so just to clarify this, because again, it's very small font, and you can always find this other places and zoom in a little bit. But there's right now in the game, as of the Kamek Tour, there are 6 different Boomerang drivers, 1 high-end Shy Guy Ninja, 2 supers, and 3 normals. That's on the side. That's on the left-hand side. On the top are all of the different Coinbox drivers in the game. I believe there's 12. I think that's right. I think there's 12 Coinbox drivers. And so what I did is on each of these spots, I basically just kind of made a tic-tac-toe or a battleship type thing where you match them up and you see the X. Any of the squares that are green are that Coinbox driver is in the top shelf of that individual driver. So as Studfit says.
Well, second middle shelf, right?
I'm sorry, did I say top shelf?
Yes. It's okay. You meant middle shelf. That's what we're referring to. It's tough because we don't think about middle shelf very often, but it's the most important when you're using a Boomerang.
Exactly. So if you look at Shy Guy Ninja has 27 top shelf tracks. Now that includes 2 L3s and 2 L6s. He has 27 total. Of those 27, 15 of them have a middle shelf Coinbox driver, at least one. There are 3 of those that do have 3 Coinbox drivers, and I would read those off to you, but I can't read what you said. But anyway, I've got the totals off there on the very far right-hand far side, and there are 3 Shy Guy Ninja ones that have 3 Coinbox drivers. Now, odds are for you to get all 3 in the same race, probably pretty low, but it's likely, and it can happen. And when I posted this on Discord, I did have one person tell me that, it doesn't really matter if it's middle shelf, because I was just grinding, and I ended up getting some bottom shelf Coinbox drivers, and that's fine, But I think that that can happen, but I think this has a higher probability of happening with these middle shelves. But I mean, there's a lot more than I think people would have probably thought in terms of these Coinbox drivers and overlap. Kamek definitely helped add some to this, plus all the different buffs that other ones have been getting. So I would just recommend that you guys study this, and when you are trying to really get a boombox, try to see what course you're on. And obviously, if the course is in white on the left-hand side, it's probably not going to happen. Now, again, you can get some bottom shelf ones, but you want those middle shelf that has 2 items as opposed to 1. It kind of doubles your chances of them having a Coinbox compared to the other one. So you really want to hit those boom boxes hard on the ones that have 1, 2, and even 3. So again, feel free to pause the video, and if you still can't see it, just go into some other options, and you'll be able to look at this a little bit closer.
But yeah, that would be my response, is that yes, maybe there might be a bottom shelf, but everyone's on the bottom shelf. If you're not on the top shelf, you're not on the middle shelf, you're on there with everybody else on the bottom shelf. Plus, you only get 1 item versus 2, so it literally doubles your chances. And so I think as you're just repeating and repeating and repeating, you want the best odds you possibly can. So I think you really want to look at the middle shelf. This helps you take a look at that. This is a resource that I don't think the community really knew that they needed. Maybe just until a couple tours ago when Shy Guy Ninja hit the top 10. But now it's a resource, and there you go. Thanks, Big Smith, for asking the great question. As for the regularly scheduled program, as we're 40 minutes into this video, no changes to the permanent items from a driver's perspective in a 100 pipe, but there has been a change to match the Black Birdo that's now in 100 pipes. The Black Turbo Birdo, the cart, is now in 100 pipes, all clear pipes, etc. So it's been a very powerful cart, as you've already known, and now it's a part of the 100 pipe. So good luck trying to get that alongside all these collage of carts. It's so crazy. So not great odds, but it's there. So good luck. You're going to need it. As for the gliders, no change there, but some really good items in next week's spotlight, which we'll get to right here, which is a very unique pipe. We've only seen this one other time. This is that DK versus Bowser. We saw Funky Kong and I think it was Dry Bowser 2 times in that pipe, and which I thought was really interesting that they did it then and they've brought it back. Now, the other thing that stood out from that pipe was we had the Romby Runner or Rider, whatever, it doesn't matter. The point is that there was this one little item that was sprinkled in with a bunch of, in some respects, garbage. Now it's great odds for a pipe, that's for sure, but on the other side of having an amazing brand new Coinbox driver in the other 100 pipe and a special pipe, which is pretty good, which we'll get to here in a second, this pipe is not as alluring. So we do have this Silver King. So good question from Edeedle. By burying the Silver King in a pipe, the few people are going to be pulling on is Nintendo tipping their hand that it could likely have high value. As we mentioned with this Rumby Runner, is Runner or Rider? Just so that no one will comment what it is. Just tell me what it is, Tabor. Is it Rider?
The high-end one?
Yeah.
The high-end one is the Runner.
So could it repeat some kind of?
90% sure of that.
It's all right. It's a great cart, but it was buried, and those people who really wanted that cart because they love DK and they're DK fans, they went for it, they got it, and they took it to the max, and they have been laughing to the bank. They've done a phenomenal job. Now, you have to remember that was I think that might have been Nintendo's way of saying, hey, we heard your complaints, we heard your feedback. We get it. You guys are pissed. We'll go ahead and buff it for you. We know you pulled it, so we'll buff it for you. And I think that was probably more of a one-case scenario. But if you told me that the Silver King, which is the 4th King cart, if you told me that it was going to be in the top 10 here in a month or so, I'd say, yeah, I could see that happening. But I'm not pulling for it. I'm just not. It's not worth going into that. Now, the one thing about this pipe that sticks out to me are the gliders. Although both of these gliders are in 100 pipes, these are some of the best gliders in the game. It's interesting to see Dry Bowser in there because we've seen so much Dry Bowser. But WD Wade asks this question. It seems that Nintendo has been pushing Dry Bowser on us a lot in recent months. And now he seems to be getting a special cart designed specifically for him, the Silver King, which is in another of these 2-time pipes. Are they getting ready to start buffing him? Or is there some kind of Bowser tour coming? Lots of signs, not sure what to do with it. What are your thoughts? And so I will say, if you're expecting some type of buff out of Dry Bowser, it's not coming. I don't foresee any major buffing. I mean, he might see one buff here or there. But I do think that Dry Bowser is one of the faces of the game. You know, and when it comes to the packs, I've seen him in so many different packs over the last 2 years, and he's a very aesthetically pleasing driver. He looks really cool. I remember when I started the game, I put tickets on him. I was like, man, I got to get this guy up. He looks cool. He's big. I didn't know much about Hitbox then, but I really liked the size. But ultimately, you already have him. He's in the daily selects. You know, he's been a part of one of the from everything really from day one. So you already have him, but he is the face of Mario Kart Tour. He's very cool. I think when you start playing the game, he's one of those drivers that just the aesthetics of it and the shooting out the fire, the noises, like we get it. Nintendo likes Dry Bowser. They will continue. This will not be the last pipe you see him in. You'll probably see him in a pack next tour. So I don't think they'll be doing any buffing. Could we see some type of Bowser tour? My guess is no. My guess is that the reason that this pipe exists is to really play into Kamek being one of Bowser's minions. I don't know, Tabor and I debated on this earlier. Is he a minion? I don't know. It doesn't matter. He is from the Bowser side of the family tree, whatever that looks like. You have Bowser, Dry Bowser, Kamek, you have minions. It's all this tour. It is all surrounding each other. So I wouldn't get too hung up on a Bowser tour coming up. I just think, kind of similar to the DK versus Bowser, there was this one little cart that some people pulled for. You could pull for it, but I wouldn't. That would be my recommendation is just, wait a little bit. Carts, there's so many of them that you can't put all your eggs in one basket anyway. So anyway, Tabor, that's my 18 cents. What are your thoughts here on this week 2 pipe?
So just to give you a few stats about Dry Bowser. So Dry Bowser was one of the OGs of the game. He was available right off the bat. He was never a spotlight during early on. He was always in the regular rotation of a pipe. He was one of the few high ends that you could get, along with Mario Musician and Dry Bowser and Pauline and I'm missing one. I think there were 4. But he's been in the daily selects ever since the start. He's actually been a gold pass gift 3 times over the history of the game. He's been in 6 different packs. 4 of them are $20 packs, 2 of them are $40 packs. He's been available in 100 pipes, mostly as a regular high end. He's just one of the most common high ends of the game. I have this rarity chart on my spreadsheet about what's the most rare driver and what's the most common. He is nearly the rarest, nearly the most common high end. The only other one that's more common than Dry Bowser is Peachette. But so I agree with everything you said, Studfit. I do disagree with one thing because I don't think we can necessarily just pull it off the table about what Nintendo wants to do. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some sort of Bowser tour. It may come. There's enough Bowser castles out there. We saw the Frost Tour was full of all snow-themed courses, and there were a lot of them, and we've got a lot of different Bowser's castles, and we know that it's not out of the question for them to do an RMX of a Bowser's castle. So who knows what they might throw on there, but it wouldn't. I don't think it would feature Dry Bowser. He'd maybe be a little bit of a supporting role, a very small supporting role. They would have some other alt out there that they would then release to us. But who knows what's going to go on. But it's this. Other than the lighters, like you said, and Silver King, I see a lot of people possibly going into this simply for black grade sale. We know that that's a very valuable glider, and they're wanting to get that. And if they happen to get Dry Bowser Umbrella along the way, or even Silver King along their way, they're okay with that. I don't see very many people going specifically for Silver King. I mean, there are people out there that will do that, but because again, it's at 11% pipe, it's pretty good. It's a high end, high end pipe, but not a lot of value on the top half of the spotlights. There's a lot of value on the bottom half, though. So it's a weird pipe. But if I had X number of rupees that I wanted to spend, of these 3 pipes that are in the game, I would continue to support the Kamek pipe. I think it's going to be a better value in the long run compared to anything else.
Yeah, 100%. I will say if they do come out with some type of Bowser tour, that would be a great time to have an 8-bit pipe, as we've talked about anticipation for. Talking about special pipes, we have the Bowser's Minion pipe. It's a 50 pipe, no spotlights. My prediction is going to be 3 high ends. I think anytime you have drivers, you have to think about that in just like base points. It's twice as many as a cart, twice as many as a glider. You have these frenzies. If you don't get frenzies, you're absolutely at a liability for ranked. So I think drivers are always at a premium. We've had some really great pipes before that have had 4 high ends in them, but they've had carts or gliders in them, and I think the other ones we've seen just drivers that have been like 4 or 5 high ends have been part of some type of special tour, like an anniversary tour or something special. Although this is a special tour, it's basically just a filler tour plus Kamek, which for us is an amazing tour. But at the end of the day, it is not like an anniversary. It is not something very unique. It's not an end to a summer celebration. So, from my perspective, this is just a great pipe. My prediction is 3 high-end drivers, and that's it, which is still a great pipe. If you look at these items, you have 2 Coinboxers, you have a Lucky 7 driver, you have some powerful drivers. Now, King Boo's Luigi Mansion is the one that sticks out as not quite as alluring, and Tabor did a great job of supplying us the rank of these items. So, like a 2 Party Time, the number 7 driver in the game based on the algorithm, the Gold Koopa free running number 18, that's second there, and then neck and neck between King Bob-omb and then King Boo Gold, which used to be a top 10 glider, top 10 driver, but now number 28. It's fallen quite a lot. Interesting to see it. It's right there with King Bob-omb. And then you have King Boo's Luigi Mansion all the way at number 84. So overall, though, this is a great pipe. I'm already predicting here. You'll probably see on the poll videos people pulling a lot of King Boo's Luigi Mansion and just shaking their head. But hey, that's what these special pipes are all about. They give you this one driver that you don't want, and that seems to be the one you keep pulling. But overall, 3 high ends and having great skills or great coverage in the case of King Bob-omb, I think this is a solid pipe. Now, I have everything except for King Boo's Luigi Mansion at level 7. This is not one I'll be pulling on, and that's why I went so heavy into the week 1 pipe. And honestly, I think if you need one of these items, go for it. Just remember the anniversary's there, and Nintendo is trying for everyone to use all their rubies, and they're doing a pretty good job of doing that. So this pipe is nothing different. So Tabor, what are your thoughts on this special pipe? Are you pulling?
No. I'm saving my rubies for whatever comes next. We can talk about some speculation about the next couple tours here in a minute. Just about this pipe, though, King Boo Luigi's Mansion, I think, is one of the coolest looking drivers in the game.
100%, yeah.
However, a lot of people don't like his image just because it's associated with garbage and trash and value and everything. But he's so cool, but he's awful. King Bob-omb actually was up there for a while before a lot of some newer ones came out, and then he's fallen a little bit. Gold Koopa free running was a top 10, regular top 10 item for a long time, fell off. King Boo Gold was briefly up there flirting with the top 10 for a while, and then he's kind of lost some value. And then like a 2 Party Time was up there for a long time. I think he was a strong number 3, number 4 for a while, and then has fell off and has recently bounced back up. Fun fact real quick, and I did this when I was formulating the middle shelf Coinbox drivers for Boomerang, is that out of all 12 Coinbox drivers, the one Coinbox driver that has the most middle shelves is King Boo Gold.
Wow, okay.
King Boo Gold has 25 middle shelf courses. Unfortunately, he only has 18 top shelf courses, but he has 25, and all the rest of them are less than that. So he could be possibly more beneficial for you as a boombox giver than than actually as a top shelf use. But no, I'm steering clear of this pipe. When I saw that, I was actually glad it wasn't anything too baity, because I knew I was going to already spend coins on pipe 1. I didn't want to end up having to try to decide which one to do or possibly double dip. I'd rather just focus on one, save my coin, save my rubies, and see what's next.
Solid points there. In sake of time, we'll move forward. But these packs, talking about bait tour and depleting your rubies, this might be a great tour to stock up on rubies for the anniversary, or if you, worst case scenario, have to acquire some rubies for the week 1 pipe. Not a bad tour to do it. I know myself, I'm always when they have packs that just like are seem to be pretty lame. I mean, I'm thinking of like some dry Bowser pipe packs, whatever. I get sad because I'm willing to get them, and when they're lame, I don't get them. So these are some great packs, though. We have I don't want to spoil too much, but you probably already know by now, 2 top 10 gliders, the Starry Great Sail and the 8-bit Bullet Bill, both top 10 gliders in packs. Those are awesome, and both the 45 ruby packs, which are a little bit more attractive in general. Now, as for the 90 pack rubies, you have the Black Birdo, who has great coverage, not a great skill. There's a big fan base. I think Nintendo, they love black stuff. They love Black Birdo. They love Black Yoshi. They like Black Turbo Birdo. And now even this the Black Toe Bean balloons. They like black items. And so if you see something that is black, just go ahead and get it. Black is the new gold. And then, so that's certainly a solid pack. And you'll get into where these rank here in a little bit. And then, of course, I would probably say out of these 4 packs, the one that looks the least attractive to me is this Dry Bones Gold and the Head Honcho. Both have been around for a long time. Most people have Dry Bones Gold, and if you're going to be spending for a pack, I mean, I would rather just, double up on an 8-bolt bill or something like that. Just not one that I'm truly attracted to. But on paper, it's a stud pack. I mean, you have a top 10 Coinbox driver, arguably still like the OG. I remember when we were doing the top 10 last year, he was crushing it, doing so well. As for the Premium Challenge High End and the Tier Shop, both of these are pretty good. I think the Premium Challenge, could we get something better? Yeah, sure. At the same point in time, this is a great cart, and it's got great coverage. It's better than a B Dasher or something like that. So yeah, I think it's a stud Premium Challenge. If you're getting that with rubies, you don't have it at level 7, go for it. I think it's well worth getting, especially if we have, as Tabor's predicting, a Bowser tour coming up. And then we have the tier shop. We have this original glider. I still think it's a stud just because if you haven't maxed out your daily selects, to me this seems like the one that makes the most sense. And for 10,000 coins, it's not a bad one to get. I think at this point in time, there are a lot of, even casuals are getting a lot of coins when it comes to pulling on pipes and getting duplicates. So if you have 10,000 coins, I don't think that's bad. It might worth saving, but it's still a stud glider, guys. I mean, it's a solid glider. Coin gliders, I think anytime we have like in the community, an idea about something, sometimes we take it a little too far. I think the coin gliders have now, they were the best, and then now they weren't, and I think it's gone a little too far. The hate has just gone a little too far. I think it's still a solid glider, and coin gliders are still really good. It's not like Coinbox where it's just OP, no doubt, but it's still a solid glider. Tabor, I know you're not much of a pack guy, but what are your thoughts on here? Do you feel like all these are studs?
Oh yeah, I think so. I mean, there's an argument for every single one of these on here, and unlike some other tours where we're at the slide and I'm always like, hey, one of these is not like the other, and and we're just kind of like questioning, why is Rosalina Aurora in there, or why is Mario NES in there? They all kind of fit. Um, I'm sure if we look back, we might be able to wonder a little bit better. But I do find it interesting that Gilded. So as you have mentioned, there are 4 King carts. 3 of them are available in this tour. We've got Gilded King here in the Premium Challenge. We've got Koopa King as a Gold Pass gift, and we've got the new Silver King in the week 1 and week 2, but week 2 Spotlight. So obviously Holiday King wouldn't even make sense in this tour, but it's interesting how they're just kind of they're sticking with that theme and throwing that out here on us. But yeah, I would agree. I think usually we see some studs, we see some duds, we see kind of a stud or kind of a dud, but yeah, these are all solid, and they all have an argument about why you should be able to get them.
Yeah, I think if DNA hired a party planner to create their tours, I think they've done themselves a awesome job this tour. Everything makes sense. Like, hey, we got one of Bowser, as we were growing up playing Nintendo, like one of Bowser's like mini bosses, and now we have Bowser and Dry Bowser, Junior Bowser, and Bowser stuff and minion stuff, and you think like if you're Kamek, you're shooting out this wizard stuff. Starry Great Sail can kind of make sense in that respect, or the wheels on that Zoom Broom kind of look kind of starry. Yeah, to me, like, this all makes sense, and I have to just applaud Nintendo for like actually making sense for once. Like, this is what they should be doing more of. On top of us wanting more original characters, to just kind of do it so fluidly this tour, it makes a lot of sense. And I kind of, I'll be honest, I kind of called it a filler tour plus Kamek, but really just because they've gone full circle and made this just a complete tour across the board. I even feel bad even calling it a filler tour, because they've outdone themselves in just keeping a solid theme throughout the whole entire tour.
One other point
Yeah,
on that
sorry,
slide before we move forward is that I know we see the one where it's Blackbirdo and Turbo Blackbirdo, and people are wondering, why would they put this in the pack when now they're both permanent high ends? That doesn't make sense. But I think one thing that people forget is that this pool of high-end items is just so bloated and so overloaded that every time they add something in, you have even less of a chance of getting one of the ones that you're wanting, because the odds, the percentages continue to go down, down, down. So I can see a lot of people wanting to shell out $40 to guarantee that they get the ones that they want, compared to hoping that my 0.37% comes through for me, or whatever. It's not going to work. So I mean, I think it's genius on their end. Now both of these are fully permanent high ends, and they're fully available here. So you can kind of skip the line and jump right to the front and get what you want.
Yeah, I am kind of surprised that they put Black Turbo Birdo in the 100 pipe, the same tour that it's in a pack. They could have waited one tour, and then everyone would be like, oh my gosh, this pack is pure gold. But yeah, it is kind of weird that they kind of put some cold water on it as it's in a pack, the same exact tour. But
usually, I think they usually do it the other way around. They put it in a pack, and then they make it be a permanent high end the tour after that.
Sorry, that's what I meant if I said it vice versa. But yeah, I mean, I feel like they could have maybe made a couple extra dollars doing it that way, but it is what it is. I'm not complaining.
For sure.
Good. All right, let's talk about who got buffed, because we are now over an hour in, and we're now getting to this. But this has been a fun tour. I enjoy talking about this, and honestly, we could, as you know, Tabor, we could talk for hours. So I'll cover here who got buffed for the drivers. We have Peach Happy got 3 new tracks. She's got the remix Ghost Valley R, 1R, and then 1T. And then the remix, looks like this is the Rainbow Road, or 1RT.
Yes.
So she now has 14 non-city tracks, 4 cities there. Interesting. I think the Ghost Valley ones are good for her. I think also, but the Rainbow Road one, not quite as good. she to me, she out of all of the Lucky 7 drivers right now, she is the most attractive over Painter, over even Nabbit and Lakitu. I think she's surging at the right time. She's getting the right tracks. At this point in time, I love her. I only have her, I think, at level 3, and as soon as I finally recover from my ticket splurge, I'm looking forward to putting some tickets in her. I think a lot of smart players have already put tickets on her because she has a lot of great unique tracks there. As for the drivers, they got 2 new buffs. You have Daisy Swimwear, Builder Toadette, you got Donkey Kong Jr., Penguin Mario, Blue Koopa free running. So Blue Koopa free running getting some love there. That's interesting. He's got Luigi, Mansion R, and T. So kind of a pretty cluttered top shelf there. But I think as I'm looking through Penguin Mario, no cities there. Obviously, there's been no cities since he was released last tour, up to 11. Donkey Kong Junior SNES. He's been a beast. Now, of course, he's not in our top 10 or even close to it. But he had Lakitu not come out and be a Coinboxer, he would be who I would be using this week in ranked. And he's been one I've been using a lot this summer. So can't complain about that. And then as for the drivers that got 1 buff, obviously we talked about it. Birdo Black, 22 non-city tracks, 7 cities though. That is a lot of cities. But for 29 total tracks, that is I believe Tabor, that's the highest in the game, right?
Highest in the game.
Yeah. So now the 7 cities, like that's not great. That's not great, but you can't complain. She's great value, and she's a lot of people's favorites. There's a big fan base behind her, so I can't get too mad at that. Bowser Jr. Pirate, not a great driver. I think the biggest complaint about if you're debating on pulling into that week 1 pipe and you need another reason to not, his size, these small drivers are so difficult, and I think it's like really. It is kind of interesting to think about Dry Bones Gold and his size, but Bowser Jr., it's just such a small driver. It really, really bothers me trying to use him, unless I'm using multiplayer where he actually is really good there. And then Dixie Kong, she's got now one new track for 20 total, non-city and 1 city. Dry Bones Gold, he actually got a nice little buff there. Looks like the 1R. For a total of 21 non-city tracks, 2 cities. He likes seeing 2 cities there versus 7. You got Fire Rosalina with 21 tracks, 2 cities. And then you got Lakitu Party Time, as you mentioned, rebounded a little bit, but that's only because of this 1 track. He's got 20 non-cities, 5 cities. Lederhosen also jumped into the top 10 there with 22 non-cities, 2 cities, which is... Two cities is great for a driver that was released during a city. Now, as we mentioned, Luigi Painter slowly creeping up, as we could probably expect for most good scales, is that they're not going to jump into the top 10 the first tour, but now is the time where they start creeping up, and I think Tuxedo Mario's still on his way into that top 10. We'll see if he makes it in time for the anniversary, which we'll kind of discuss here a little bit. But Luigi Painter finally getting some love a little bit there, but of course Luigi's Mansion R isn't a track necessarily that you need him to get, but it is what it is. Mario Baseball, poor Mario Baseball, he's got 2 less tracks than Penguin Mario. It's interesting. What are they waiting for? We'll have to find out. And then Mario Tuxedo with 17 non-city tracks, 4 cities. So it's not a lot. He's still got another 2 or 3 more tracks that they're going to give him here this summer. It's just a matter of if they're going to give it to him now or later. And then Mario SNES, big jump there in the top. We'll probably see in the movers and shakers up to 18 non-city tracks, 4 city tracks, and then Pauline Rose, got her own fan base. She's got 20 non-cities, 7 cities, number 13 on our list. And then missed coverage here. You got Peach Explorer with 26 non-city tracks, 2 city tracks. Tabor, what are your takeaways from the who got buffed on the driver side of things?
Yeah, a couple interesting things is that, the most recent new driver was Penguin Mario, and he's not the one that got the most buffs. And this just continues to kind of reaffirm the fact, and it's not always, it's not every single time, but typically the driver that was released 2 tours ago is the one that's going to get the most buffs. And so I kind of expect Penguin Mario to follow into that suit next tour. Kamek will get more tracks as well, but I can see Penguin Mario getting some of the most on all that. Really interesting to see that Blue Cooper Freerunning got 2. They gave him some love for whatever reason, but I think they gave him courses where there was already super drivers involved. So whether that helps you or not, who knows? I know that KG really likes seeing Donkey Kong Jr. getting buffed here, as well as Dixie Kong. I believe with Donkey Kong Jr. SNES, this is the second time in the last 3 tours that he's gotten 2 buffs. So whether that means anything or not, because he just kind of came out of the blue. He hadn't been buffed for a long time. And then all of a sudden, twice in the last 3 tours, he's gotten double buffs. So interesting to see that work. But yeah, Birdo Black broke the mold there, has the most courses right now out of everybody with 29, a lot of cities, but again, we're just kind of getting closer to that 30 threshold to see who's going to break that mark for the first time. Doesn't mean anything other than just a number, but it's interesting nonetheless. Yeah, I don't know about your boy Tuxedo. I don't know if he's going to make it. We'll just have to see what kind of love that they give him as he gets closer. But yeah, a pretty good list. It's kind of almost the rich getting richer. Peach Explorer and Birdo Black already had some of the top number of tracks going into this, and they're continuing to get more. So we'll just have to see where that trend begins and where that trend ends.
Yeah, we can talk about it now. Big Smith asked if I'm starting to sweat on this bet that I had. For those of you who didn't know, I made a small off-the-air bet with Frenzy Fans, who has another awesome channel. We do have a lot of, I always like to toss out, if I'm going to mention someone like, as we mentioned, Kevin Garrett's channel or Frenzy Friends channel, I also will have to plug, Shy Guy Kart, Carlos 85, Kart Life, any of the sponsors that we have that are actually members of our channel. Those are the ones I want to promote. I'd love to be able to have, these other guys, because we have so much, even Sergeant Spike, great member for us as well. So I always want to plug the members who are also have their channel first and foremost. But Frenzy Fans also has their channel. They mentioned, and I have to give credit to them for being observant and noticing that Mario's seem to not be as buffed as well as other drivers. In like, if you think about like in the top 10, and I said, well, I still think a Coinbox Mario is still going to break the top 10. So we made a bet that by the anniversary date of September 22nd, if he makes the top 10, then I win the bet. And on their channel, he's got to dress up as a Tuxedo Mario, and if I lose, I got to dress up as a Bowser Santa. So you may be seeing me dressed up and wearing, a Santa beard and a giant Santa hat, but hopefully not. And so the question that Big Smith asks is, am I sweating? We still have 2 more tour releases. We still have enough time to see a couple more buffs. Now, the downside is for the algorithm. Tuxedo Mario went down. So I think it was number 15, and then Tabor, you mentioned he was, I think, number 19 now. So that's not good news. We don't like to see people go down. But I do think it is a good point that I wanted to bring up. And I think regardless of the bet, I think his name is Jeff. I might have that wrong. But Frenzy Fans, the gentleman on there, made an observation that does seem that Marios don't get quite the buffs that other reskins and other drivers get, which actually seems to be kind of true, and I'm starting to be a believer that might be the case. So when you see Penguin Mario on here, you see Baseball Mario get just 1 buff and have 9 non-city tracks. I don't know, man. For me, of course, he's got the 6 cities, so he's got a lot of tracks. But I think that's partly true. You know, maybe Mario. I think Nintendo likes to compensate, and so if somebody has a lot of something, they'll maybe not buff it as much. And so everyone went crazy over Tuxedo, myself leading that charge, and Nintendo's like gone out of their way to not buff him. Like, there's no way their way to explain it other than just completely trolling us and making it this is not an accident. They are going out of their way to not give him any good buffs. And hey, you know what? It's their game. They can do it as they please. It's kind of sad because Mario Tuxedo, we've waited so long for another Mario Coinboxer, and we finally have one. It finally looks cool, and he just absolutely gets no good buffs. So there's my rant. There's my soapbox. Tabor, tell us about who got buffed with the carts.
A number of carts got buffed, and as you can see, starting us off with 2 buffs is good old Carrot Cart, which
crazy.
Came out of nowhere here. That's, usually one of the things I like to do on the buffed screens is just highlight the ones that have been oldest in the game that all of a sudden got recognized and got buffs. I forgot to do this on the drivers, but on the drivers, I think the oldest driver in the game that got buffed was just Dry Bones Gold. He's been in the game for a long time and has just been kind of dormant, and all of a sudden they decided to just throw a course at him. So same thing here with Carrot Cart. It got 2. And then Dark Hop Rod and Pinch Hitter are some pretty recent ones, and we kind of expected those to be able to get some value added to it. So exciting there. I know a lot of people are just continuing to keep their eye on Dark Hop Rod, hoping that it's a cool looking cart, and they really wanted to.
Awesome.
Really wanted to soar.
Phenomenal looking cart. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Wanted to go up in value and see what happens. 16 different carts got 1 buff. Black Turbo Birdo, again, the rich get richer there. They just decided to continue to give it love, got 1. Clackety Cart is a pretty older one too. Got 1 as well. Cleanup Hitter, Dark Trickster, DK Maximum's another decently older one. They all got recognized with 1. Head Honcho, which is also in one of the packs, that got one of the buffs. Inferno Flyer, Iron Cucumber, Jade Hop Rod, and the Jet Cruiser got 1. Pumpkin Cart, Lime Teacoop, Paintster, Purple Bunny, Sunny Surf Sailor. All of those are fairly recent, within the last 3 or 4 tours. And then we have Blue Turbo Yoshi, which also continues to get some love and got 1 as well. So nothing really to write home about here, nothing crazy. Obviously no +3 buffs, +4 buffs. It's just pretty moderate in terms of the value that was added to it. But again, I really can't get over Carrot Cart. I believe I apologize because I don't have this memorized, or I don't know that if this is fully accurate. But I think both of Carrot Cart's buffs were RMX Ghost Valley courses. So I believe it got like one of the, I think it might be R and T or 1 or regular 1 and R or something like that. But it's interesting that an older cart like that was able to be given 2 new courses as we go. But anyway, that's our list. And, no crazy value. Black Turbo Birdo's got 27 total. But other than this, these were all kind of middle of the pack carts that got a little bit of recognition. No, not very many on here are top 10, top 15. There's a handful, but not too many.
Yeah, it is interesting. I remember opening the game and jumping into some of the ranked tracks and seeing Purple Bunny again, and then Black Turbo Birdo again. It's like every single tour these keep popping up, and so I have both of them now level 7 double uncapped because they're just so strong. And I can see even next tour them just being part of ranked again. Like that's what Nintendo is doing now, is making the hot items on fire and just pouring the gasoline. It's crazy to see how they're doing that. But
this is another reason, this is another reason. We've talked about this before, but a lot of people don't like the fact that we include ranked appearances in our algorithm when determining the value of these items. But whenever Nintendo shows obvious favoritism towards some items over another, I think you can't ignore that.
You cannot deny it. No,
you can't at all. The ones that are being hit the hardest, the most recent, are the ones that you can't not see. They're the ones that we have to recognize in some way, shape, or form. So, looking at recent ranked appearances, I think is just is a no-brainer. We have to include it.
And on the flip side, Mario Tuxedo gets buffs every tour, but they're garbage tracks and they're not a part of ranked. It's just plain and simple. As for who got buffed, the gliders, we have 2 gliders that got buffed 3 times. One being the Springtime Crane that was released in the Summertime Tour celebration, and the Gold Home Field Glider. Both of those got 3 tracks. Both of them have 4 cities. However, the Springtime Crane has 12 compared to 13 non-city tracks that the Gold Home Field Glider has. For the gliders that have 2 buffs, we have the 8-bit Fire Flower, up to 22 non-city tracks, 5 city tracks, and number 2 on our list. As you can see there, good for that. I think we definitely are going to have an 8-bit pipe one day. And then the Flying Easel with, it looks like 15 non-city tracks, 5 city tracks. The Home Field Glider, 11 non-city tracks and 5 cities. I think there's still a lot of debate on which one was going to pull ahead. It does seem like the Gold Home Field Glider has made a slight edge there. And then Yukata Ribbon at 9 non-city, 3 city. Sunny Surf Sailor at 13 non-city, 3 city. Now for the gliders that all got 1 buff. I think as you can see there, those first 3 that you're looking at, the 8-bit Bullet Bill, 23 non-city tracks, 0 cities. 0 cities, that's right. So to me, that is the pack to get for sure. That is glorious. The Black Great Sale, 2 cities there, but 25 non-city tracks. So yeah, that is a phenomenal glider. There's no doubt about that. You knew that. I didn't have to tell you that. Then we have the controversial black toe bean balloons. It's only controversial because there are some people that really, really like it, and that's perfectly fine. But literally all of its tracks overlap with Strawberry Donut and other gliders that everyone has at high level. So for the whales, it means very, very little. But just like anything named black, it does have a lot of value, and it's continuing to climb on our list because of that coverage. I think from that perspective, you can't deny that it is a top 10 glider. I just have better. A lot of whales have better options, and that's perfectly fine. I would love to see it get some unique course coverage. I don't know, Tabor, if you have any the CCV on that, but I know it was part of ranked a lot, and that's really helped it out. But I think from my perspective, I've had different options, and I've never had to use it. We got Full Flight with 7 cities. It's interesting that they brought the Full Flight and buffed that a little bit. The Glinton Glider, 16 non-city tracks, 4 cities. Manta Glider, 20 non-city tracks, 2 cities. We got the Nabbit Oil Paper Umbrella up to number 14 on our list with 19 non-city tracks, 3 cities. The Polka Dot Manta Glider, a lot of Manta Gliders here with 14 there, 4 cities. And then, as I mentioned to you before, the Starry Great Sail with 19 non-city tracks, 5 cities. So it's got, if you're comparing the Starry Great Sail compared to that 8-bit Bullet Bill, what sticks out is those 5 cities compared to 0. But both the top 10 gliders, both a phenomenal value there. I had to choose between the Black Toe Beans balloons, the 8-bit Bullet Bill, and the Starry Great Sail for the Ninja Tour. I ended up going 8-bit Bullet Bill, and I'm glad I did. That seems to make a lot of sense. Tabor, anything you want to add about who got buffed for the gliders?
Yeah, I didn't see. You said there was a little bit of a debate about which of the home field gliders would be the most valuable. I think it was pretty much a shoe-in because of the Gold Home Field Glider being put into a special pipe and it being the spotlight and being a single spotlight. Kind of reminds us of a King Bomb and how he was introduced, King Bomb Gold. And so I think it's going to continue to take off, and I know that's one of Sammy's theories, as well as some other people. So no question about that. What really stood out for me on this is, again, Black Grade sales continue to get love, and it's just, and we're going to talk about the usefulness of Black Grade sale this tour only here soon. But it's just, again, the rich getting richer. It is the number one glider, as you can see here on this statistic, and it's continuing to like greatly pull away from everybody else. I mean, a huge gap from whatever it used to be before. Full Flight is my kind of throwback glider of all this bunch. It's been in the game the longest, and they decided to give it a little bit of love here. Black Toe Bean Balloons, I just looked it up. It actually it's the number 2 CCV value of all the gliders. So in terms of course coverage, it looks like it's one of the best on there. So again, it just talks about how the CCV is all about comparing itself to how many other top shelf gliders share those courses. It doesn't talk about how common those other ones are, or how likely that you have it at other ones at a higher level. So again, there's definitely an argument there to be made, but a pretty small list compared to what we had on drivers and carts. However, there's definitely, I think there's some more solid ones on this than we had on some of the other lists that we talked about.
Yeah, I remember when we did the top 10 list for the very first time last anniversary, and I remember showing things on how much overlap with other top 10 items, and for me that would be interesting to see, because I think that would reveal a lot of what's going on here, at least from the Black Toe Bean balloons, because for me it's like I have it and I'm willing to put tickets on it. I want it to be successful. I have it, and I have it at like level 3, willing to just go all in on it, but never had an opportunity. So to me, I don't want anyone to think I'm against it. It is a top 10 glider, and I love CCV. So if it's a number 2 CCV, which is that unique course coverage there, then go for it. If you have the opportunity to put tickets on it, absolutely 100% go for it. I'm waiting for that moment, and it hasn't come. So now getting to our top 10, now that we are literally an hour and a half into this video, the way the algorithm works is we take a number of criteria, and these have been tweaked over time. We try to do it relatively periodically. We added the hitbox to the cart as just one example, tweaked a couple of the percentages, and I think this anniversary we might do some further tweaks, but for sake of time, we'll jump right into the top 10 drivers. Take us away, Tabor.
Yeah, so you can see there's not a lot of change there on the far right side on the top 5. The top 5 stayed the top 5. Again, I just want to preface this that there is absolutely zero personal opinion involved when these rankings are created. This is completely just data-driven and fact-based on terms of all these different criteria. Now, we obviously used our own judgment on which criteria was important and what these weights are and percentages are, and those are continuing to be evaluated and judged, like Studfit said. But this is, putting all the data in, this is what we ended up getting for drivers. Shy Guy Ninja still holding that number 1 spot. King Bomb on Gold, number 2. Nabbit, which I know that there's a little bit of a murmur in the crowd out there about feeling that he's trash now. He hasn't been used recently. He's not as useful as what he used to be. And I understand that. And obviously, just because these are the lists that we release doesn't mean that this is necessarily what we agree with or what we feel is the best for our own inventory. Because again, this doesn't take into account your inventory, the levels of your drivers. So what we're releasing right now needs to be a resource, not the resource. So let this be one of the deciding factors of where to put tickets, as well as spam and gerbs and some other ones that are out there. This is just kind of what we came up with using that same system that we've been using. So Nabbit's 3, Dry Bones Gold is 4, Pink Gold Peach is 5. Pink Gold Peach has some pretty massive value this tour as well, especially if you have her at a high level. Peach Explorer is at 6, and honestly, I don't see her probably going much higher than where she is. She's already the number 1 CCV driver. She's already the number 1 weighted course value driver. Her skill kind of pulls her back a little bit. She's got great ranked percentage use, so she's almost the top of the top on so many different categories that her skill is kind of the one that's holding her back. So she doesn't have a lot of room to improve from where she is now. Again, as Studfit says, we're going to be probably really considering reevaluating this algorithm come anniversary time or shortly after. So that might change a little bit with what you see. Finally, some movers. Lakitu Party Time did move up 7 spots from 14 to number 7. Did get a buff in there, as you can see, and has a little bit of use on some ranked courses. Mario Halloween did move down 1. I know a lot of people are upset that Mario Halloween is still in the top 10. However, he is used in ranked this tour. He didn't get a buff though, but he is still useful. Luigi Lederhosen did move up 7 spots from 16 into the top 15 into the top 10, number 9. And Penguin Toad did move down 2 spots to number 10. And then you've got rounding out the top 15 are Rosalina Swimwear at 11, another Coinbox driver. Peach Wedding did fall down into 12th place. Pauline Rose did make the giant jump into the top 15. Wow. A lot of people have been really eagerly anticipating that because they've seen a lot of value. Again, Pauline Rose is one of those that has been ranked at least once every single tour since she's released. I know I say this almost every single rundown, and it keeps being true. They're still showing her love, and I don't know if that's going to stop. Black Yoshi's at 14, and then Mario SNES did move up and break into the top 15 for the first time.
Yeah, you know, what happened to White Yoshi? Wasn't he number 10 last tour? It's interesting to see how far he's dropped. But, I mean, when you have skills like that, it's not too surprising. And then, of course, you had a Frost tour, and he's white. So, of course, he's going to jump up a little bit. But I always want to let people know just to be, you know, anytime you have something without a great skill, you literally need it to be in ranked every single tour for it to even break any type of top 15, because that skill is so important. I think some people think that 25 is too much. I think 25 is too little, to be honest with you. I think that it's great to have a top shelf driver for ranked, but it's even better to have a great skill, and so that's always going to be that trump card. It's like comparing a spade to a diamond if you're playing the game Spades. It's just a different game. This is all about the Coinbox. And now, of course, it's been fun incorporating these other skills, but man, it's nowhere even close. Go ahead.
A couple other comments about this. Black Birdo, I know probably a lot of people are looking at this saying, where's Black Birdo? I mean, her value is crazy. She did move up on my list from 29 to number 20. So she is slowly creeping her way up to where a lot of people feel that she needs to be. But yeah, White Yoshi did fall off 7 spots. So he went from 10 to 17. So out of the top 15. And yeah, I mean, triple mushrooms isn't honestly that bad of a skill.
Sure.
But it's kind of hasn't seen a buff, hasn't seen any really ranked use. But I think you were right. I think they kind of they followed the theme of the Frost Tour, gave it a bunch of value, gave it a bunch of use, and then have decided that that's enough for him. And so we're going to move on to something else.
Yeah, and talk about gradual. Knight Rosso asks, also, do you think Kamek's value will grow? Will it be immediate and lasting, like Gold King Robert? Or be slow and gradual, like Mario Tuxedo, Mario Toilet Paper, or something in between? Yeah, man, it's going to be tough. I think Kamek, the way he starts out with 4 awesome tracks where he is the only Coinbox driver is a phenomenal start. I think he has only to go up from there, and it's only good that he gets more tracks. Now, the thing is that if you remember, this is a long time ago, but there was a player called Peach Vacation, and she was the queen because we only had 3 or 4 Coinboxers, and so her tracks were not T tracks; they were regular tracks, and she had a lot of single coverage on those tracks, and so she was the original top number 1 driver in the game, and it was pretty unanimous, and we all knew it. And then since then, we've had 8 Coinbox drivers add to this game, and although we have a lot of different tracks, it's becoming a lot more clustered. Overlap is bound to happen, and that's why I think having a Coinbox driver where it is the only Coinbox driver on that track is just so rare. It'd be actually interesting to see how many Coinbox drivers have a Coinbox track to themselves. I bet you 4, might be one of the highest. We might see 5 or 6, and that might be all you get because we just have so many Coinbox drivers. So I would just say that adding a Coinbox driver today is different than a year ago, and it's different than 2 years ago. So, that's all I'm kind of putting it is with a grain of salt. I think Kamek will be a great driver. I think the fact that he's coming out on his own tour is, and the way that he is, I think from my perspective, especially with all these items related to him, man, I just think he's only got to go up from here. I consider him an easy top 10 by the end of the calendar year. I'll go ahead and make anyone a bet. By December 31st, he'll break the top 10. No problem making that bet. I'll dress up as whatever you want. So feel free to in the comments if you want to take the bet.
I'll take that a little bit. I'll be a little bit more aggressive on that. I think Kamek will be top 15. I'm not going to say top 10. I think Kamek will break into the top 15 by Thanksgiving.
I thought you said more aggressive. That's less aggressive. 15?
By Thanksgiving. That's more aggressive.
All right. Well, all right. We'll have to agree to disagree on that. But no, I agree with you. Like that he has only to go up from here. He's got some great coverage there. Anytime you have a Coinbox driver, they're going. I'm curious. Have we ever had a Coinbox driver never be in the top 10?
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right.
Well, I mean, okay.
Like at one point,
I was gonna say Hakama, but he was so early on in the game that there probably wasn't even 10 high ends at that point. But
Party Time Pauline so Party Time Pauline though she was she might have been in the top 10 when there were only 10 drivers.
Right.
Yeah. So it's probably safe to say I remember free running being in this top 10 before. We've seen every single Coinbox driver be in the top 10 at some point in time, and I think that's just an honest good sign that the algorithm works because Coinbox is king and Coinbox is overpowered in this game. Hate it or love it. All right, as for the carts, much more movement. In fact, this Black Turbo Birdo, the number 1 cart in the game. I mentioned this before, and again, it was only out of love, but I said this Romby Runner, it was going to be the number 1 because it's the Frost Tour, right? So it's got all these tracks and ranked that are snow related and have ice, snow, whatever, because it was a Frost Tour. So I said, hey, guys, it's only going to go down here from here. I said the same thing about my beloved Silver Star Shoot, and I was right about that too. So no surprise here. Now, could it go back up to number 1? Yeah, I could see that. Maybe in a couple months here when we get back to winter and we start to see Mary Mountain again or whatever it might be. So yeah, could it get back to number 1? Sure. But right now we have Black Turbo Birdo. A cart that I still don't know how I have, but so glad I have it. And now it's in a ranked, now it's in a pack, and now it's in 100 pipes. So hopefully you guys have it. Hopefully you continue to put tickets in it. And then one of my other personal favorites, the Purple Bunny. I liked it at first because Nabbit was really big at the time when it came out. I was thinking, Purple Bunny, it's Purple Bunny. And here it is, number 3 on our list. It has continued to slowly climb, and it's got some pretty good tracks. One of the things I like about it, and just if you needed another reason, I've mentioned this before, it's Rocket Start Plus. And if you look at a lot of its tracks, it has a lot of tracks that are kind of shortish. We're talking like Choco Island, Vanilla Lake, and of course you have Vanilla Lake has now these gushers coming up and stuff, but a lot of these short tracks, Rocket Star Plus is actually going to be a lot of times the better move because you get those guaranteed points versus having to get a lot of Jump Boost is going to be better in a Dino Jungle or something, Rock Mountain, something with a lot of movement. So Rocket Star Plus is great on these short tracks, and that's another reason why I invested in it. And it's the fact that it's on this list is even better. Black Dozer, still a solid cart. It's slowly been declining. I think its stay at number 1 has come and gone. Still a great cart. I have mine triple capped, but it's I just don't see it seeing a lot of buffs going forward. But we've seen some of these carts. Once you get to the top 10 in the carts, because there's so many, you kind of linger. We've seen that with the Off-Roader. We've seen that with the Rose Queen, that's number 7. We've seen it the Happy Ride, which is number 8. So I won't get into too much of those. Each of those went down 1. Actually, the Rose Queen went up 2, but the Crawley Cart went down 1. So the Crawley Cart, one of kind of the same time around as the Black Dozer. So you're starting to see these generations kind of seeing their flux. But once you break in the top 10 as a cart, we have just so many carts. It's really hard to get to that top echelon of carts. But they've been there, and they're still kicking it. But now we have the Happy Ride down 1. Going into a newer cart, it's interesting. The Sakura Quickshaw, based on how rare it was, and it's continued to gradually go up. I could see this one rising. I could see this one in the top 5 in the next couple. It's really, really interesting there. And then the Cact Ice, up 1 to number 10, broke the 10 there. Wild Block at 11, seen better days. The Jade Hop Ride, love the Jade Hop Ride. It's number 12. We'll see if it gets back in the top 10 before the Dark Hop Ride gets in the top 10. That one I expect to get to number 1. That might be a Thanksgiving bet. We'll see what happens there. And then we have the looks like the Cheap Cheap Snorkel 13, the Wild Pink at 14. That one's seen better days. And then the B Dasher Mark II at 15. Tabor, what do you think about the carts?
I like this. The last time we did the rundown, we had a major shakeup in a lot of these carts. Ramby Runner jumped up huge number of spots into the number 1, and there was just some large shifts. So honestly, I was okay when I saw this, because I like these minor shifts that are happening, just kind of a little bit of rearranging a little bit. A few new ones in the top 10, maybe one new one in the top 10, but other than that, just kind of the same ones, just rearranged a little bit. And I think it's another good indication that the algorithm's working. I don't think anything really should be. I don't think you can look at this list and say, well, what about this? This deserves to be up there, because I really don't think anything's missing. I think these are all the really good solid cards right now that are hot, that are working.
Yeah, great point there. Talking about the algorithm working, the only change we made really here recently was adding the hitbox to the cart algorithm. Now, of course, the hitbox wouldn't help a cart such as Black Turbo Birdo. So Knight Rosso asks, how is Black Turbo Birdo the number 1 cart, even though it has such a small hitbox? What categories is it insane in? And I think we've touched on this a few different times, but not only does it have a not good hitbox, but it also has a not good skill in like the algorithm's perspective of this slipstream plus. So to answer Knight's question, what categories is the top in?
Yeah, so like you said, so I give an incremental point total out of 100 for each one of these skills, and then I put the percentages according to that and give them the base score overall. So for its skill, it gets 0 points, because the worst skill is Slipstream, and it has 0 points for that. So honestly, it could be even a stronger top number 1 if it had anything other than Slipstream. Hitbox, there's 170 carts in the game. Black Turbo Birdo ranks 125th in terms of the hitbox, so well below average. In terms of ranked mode, it's been used quite often. Since introduced, it's actually at 22.2% of ranked percentage, which is ranked 6th. So it's the 6th most used cart in ranked percentage-wise. But then really where it excels, where as they said, which categories is it insane in? It's actually the number 1 cart in CCV, and it's also the number 1 cart in weighted course value. So in terms of course coverage, and it's the weighted course value, just to give you a quick breakdown, is where you look at all of its top shelf courses, you break them down into N's and R's and T's and RT's and cities and L3 and L6, and then you attach a percentage to each of those about which one has been used the most in ranked recently. And this one does judge off of more recently compared to just a whole beginning to end. And so it's got a lot right now. The T versions are really hot. Those are being used a lot, as well as the normal versions are being used a lot. And Black Turbo Verto has a lot of those. So it's benefiting that one for sure. But it's got 2 number 1 categories in this, which is really helping it. But like I said, its skill is not helping it at all. It could be much better than it is. Right now, it's got about a 2-point lead over Ramby Runner as a second place. So I mean, it's holding pretty solid at number 1 right now.
Awesome. I think we'll move into the gliders here. Yeah, I think you can handle this one, right?
Yep, I got it. So on the gliders, again, Black Grade sale, and I just want to also preface this. Like I said, it's shown its quality a lot in this tour. Not only did it get a buff, it's actually a top shelf item in 3 of the 6 courses, 6 ranked courses this tour, so it can really help you out in ranked. It also its breakdown in terms of the CCV. Black Grade Sale also has the number 1 CCV value. It also has the number 1 weighted course value. So it's top on a lot of these lists. Its skill is Bullet Bill Plus, which isn't great, but a lot of the other ones, and its percentage of use, its ranked percentage of use is 22.2%, which is ranked number 6. So, I mean, it's doing well. And just to give you a point differential, again, I assign all these categories into groups of 100, and then I give it an overall score, which is also out of 100. Black Grade Sale has the highest overall value of any item, driver, karts, or gliders in the game, at 86 points. And the second place for the gliders, as you can see, is 8-Bit Fireflower, and 8-Bit Fireflower is at 78 points. So it's got an 8-point lead over second place, which is a huge 8% lead, which is a huge gap for these other ones to overcome. But 8-Bit Fireflower is doing its job. It jumped in from 5 to 2 and moved up 3 spots. A lot of shake-up here in the top, in the 2 through 5. The Silver Manta Glider did move up as well into number 3. It ended up moving up 1 spot from 4 to 3. 8-Bit Bullet Bill, which, as we've already mentioned, has 0 city courses, has really been showing some love and some buffs and some uses here. Moved up from 7 to 3. And honestly, out of all the ones that are moving, I think that's the one that is moving the fastest. It's got the greatest momentum to possibly jump up into the number 2. But it's really interesting to see 2 8-bit gliders, 2 8-bit items in the top 4. These 8-bits, and plus the Mario SNES jumped into the top 15. So we're starting to see some of these 8-bit values or 8-bit items getting some value. Black Toe Beans, again, the number 2 CCV item in the game did move up 3 spots from 8 to 5. Silver Starshoot did move down. I know it's seen its day. It had its day where it was the thing to have, and that was where a lot of things were happening, and it's still valuable. I don't want to discount that at all. If it's on this list, it's definitely a valuable item, but we just haven't seen it as much lately. It did move down from number 3 to number 6. Starry Great Sale jumped into the top 10 from 12 to 7, moved up 5 spots. Dry Bowser Umbrella, it dropped. It was a solid number 1, number 2 glider for a long time, and it got a buff. It didn't get a buff. It's a spotlight right now in Pipe 2, but there's not much use for it now because it's a spotlight. It probably has a top shelf course somewhere in the game on one of the ranks, but there's not. It's very few and far between. So it did drop 6 spots, and keep in mind that when we say when it dropped, it doesn't necessarily mean that it lost value. It might have lost a little bit of value, but these other ones definitely gained value, and they just leapfrogged it. It's kind of like it's stationary, and the other ones are just passing it by. So it's still there. It's still top 10. So we'll see what happens from here on out. Bright Balloons did move up 1 from 10 to 9, and Strawberry Donut did move down 1 from 9 to 10. After that, we have Sunset Balloons that ended up getting the number 11 spot. We have that one also did move down 5 places, so it dropped out of the top 10. Spider Glider did move down 1 from 11 to 12. Dragon Wings actually held steady at 13. It dropped out of the top 10, I believe, last tour, and it just is kind of stationary right there. Nabbit Oil Paper actually moved up 5 spots from 19 to 14, so it's seen a little bit of recognition and jumped back to the top 15 from 16 to 15. Your thoughts on any of these gliders, Studfit?
Yeah. So Tabor, you hit most of these on the head. I would just say that this Black Ray sale is just so phenomenal. We see this every so often. We saw it with Dragon Wings, we saw it with Dry Bowser Umbrella, and now we see it with this great Black Ray sale, where it is just dominating. We'll see if it lasts a little bit longer than the Dry Bowser Umbrella. But I mean, we're still was top for a good 3 or 4 months there. So I could see this Black Ray sale still seeing a couple more buffs. It just does. I will not continue to buff or invest in something while it is still hot. The moment 2 or 3 tours go by, that's when I'm like, okay, so this is it's got the tracks it's got, and I can just sit back on those tracks and then just focus in on those new tracks. But really, that's all I'm gonna say to that. It's the rest of what we talked about. But again, the Silver Star Shoot. I mentioned I love it, and I predicted it was going to go down. Three went down more than I thought, but when we had this Frost Tour, we knew things were going to get buffed. It is interesting the Silver Manta Glider went up 1 because for the same reason as the Silver Star Shoot or the Romby Runner, having these silver or having these snow looking or ones tied to snow tracks, we knew we were going to see a very quick impact there on its ranking. So no surprise there. As for the top movers and shakers, we won't go through all of these just based on time. But Tabor, what stuck out to you the most?
Yeah, so for drivers, I think the ones that stuck out for me the most are just the ones that honestly jumped into the top 15 or the top 20. Mario SNES jumped 11 spots. Pauline Rose, I know, like we mentioned already, that's taken the big jump that a lot of people were anticipating. Even Black Birdo is making some progress. It cut 9 places off of where it was. Lakitu Party Time, as well as Luigi Lederhosen, also made some big moves. So we just continue to keep some eye on the ones that we see here. In terms of carts, I think the ones that made the biggest jumps that were the most noticeable were the Painster, moved from the 30s to the early 20s. Same thing with the Jet Cruiser. It's been moving up, making some headway. Head Honcho actually had a little bit of a return, made some big leeway as well. Other than that, I think it's just nothing to be too concerned about.
Come on, man. The Dark Hop Rod.
If you want it.
Up 23 spots. Come on, man. Okay. We want it in the top 10. It's gonna get there. We know it. You gotta believe, Tabor.
Okay. Well, I'll believe that you want it up there. I mean, I wouldn't mind it. It's a great looking cart, and obviously it made a big leap with what you said. Not as big as the Gold Home Field Glider did, though. I mean, it went from the 58 all the way to 22. That's a huge jump for anything, whether it's early in the game or late in the game. I felt like that was a huge jump to look at. Gold Glider actually had a little bit of a return, jumped back into the top 20. Starry Great Sail went from 12 to 7. So some notable ones to look at here. Even Flying Easel, it's a little bit of attention getting there with the move that it made, but we'll just have to see what happens from here on out.
Solid points there. I like it. As for the All Cup ranking MVPs, of course, Kamek's going to be your boy. 13 tracks for him. Again, this does cover our the boosts and based on the cups, etc. And Kamek having his own Cup obviously helps there, and then of course you have his tracks. So he's gonna be king for all cup ranking. If you put a lot of tickets in him, the whales might have an advantage here. But I think there's so many people that are interested in having that Kamek badge, right? So someone like Sammy D, who does hasn't gone for the top 100 very often at all. So having it, getting that one badge that you're going to be proud to sport for many tours. This might be the chance that a lot of these Kamek fans are going for and trying to get that badge. So good luck to you. As you know, a lot of these items that are powerful in the top 10 are also powerful in this tour. Things like the Black Rate Sale that we mentioned there, Turbo Birdo, Black Turbo Birdo, regular Black Birdo, the non-cart, and the Dry Bowser Umbrella, all top 10 items, also doing really well in all cup ranking with anywhere from 11 to 8 tracks there this tour. Then of course you got Shy Guy Ninja with 7. You got Lakitu Party Time with 7. These are some great drivers that a lot of established players have already put a lot of tickets into because of their skill, and they are being rewarded for doing so. Painster up there, the 8-bit Bullet Bill, it's nice to see that. No Starry Great Sale, which I thought was interesting. Purple Bunny there as well. So one of the questions that we got, this one was from Jeeves24. He said he had a lot of people struggle. He had a hunch that a lot of people were struggling with the All Cup ranking because of all the boom boxes. And of course, this tour we have 7 tracks for Shy Guy Ninja. I'll kind of share my experience, and I'll try to do this brief. This is kind of a long story, but I'll try to do as briefly as possible. But since I started going for top 100 badges, I think it was the second time that they offered it. So the Wild Wild West, I got, I think, top 1,000. Then from then on, I've gotten top 100 every single tour except for one. And that was the Mario versus Luigi. It was during Thanksgiving, so I actually had a lot of time with my family. I didn't get a lot of time to play. Had some bad reception and for a couple of days where I was staying. So I didn't get to grind ACR, but I still don't grind it that often. But the one thing that threw me off and that I didn't anticipate is that was a trick tour. So every track had a trick track. So you had a lot of casual whales full comboing all these tracks. And so you saw a number of people score better. The casual people scored better than usual, than typical. And I will kind of say the same thing is going with Shy Guy Ninja for all cup ranking, is that the casual player is not going to be grinding all cup ranking as well as or as much as those who take it really serious. So I would say that Shy Guy Ninja for all cup ranking, it's a grinder's weapon. If you are willing, if you have the time to grind, then he's your man. He should be the one that you're putting tickets on. If you don't have time to grind, he's unfortunately you're not going to be able to utilize his skill. None of that seems earth-shattering. But what I'm saying is that the tours that have more Shy Guy Ninja, you're going to see less casuals move up and do really well in all cup ranking. And I'm not saying that Jeeves is a casual. Maybe he would describe him that. But what I'm saying is that kind of similar to this one experience I had where you kind of make every tour, every track full combo easy. You're going to see casuals do really, really well, and versus a tour that you're going to see a tough skill that takes a long time. You're just going to it's going to bring benefit to those people who have more time, and that's really as simple as it gets. Tabor, I know you don't necessarily like talking about all cup ranking that much, but any thoughts here?
The only thing that I'm gonna say, well, two things. The newer characters should be used the most in a tour, just because every new course that a new character or new item gets is going to be a current course on that tour. There's not going to be any that are not used, so that makes sense. But it's pretty impressive that Kamek is that much higher than the next one. The other thing is just a general statement about ACR and my initial thoughts to it. I love that it's there because it gives a lot of people some goals to grind, especially when the game can get a little boring, especially in week 2 when it comes around and they're already done grinding all the things. Their ranked is where they want it to be, and they have nothing to do. So obviously ACR is a great time killer and a great way to spend your time if you've got nothing else to do. However, for me and my personal opinion is I am not going to lift a finger grinding for ACR when all I get is a badge. That is not worth it to me. If they make it so that there's other prizes out there, if there's this competition where you get for top 10 or top 100, top 1,000, get something other than a badge, if they get rubies, if they get free high ends or free pipe, whatever, then I might start looking at it a little bit more seriously. But when all that you get is a silly badge and you're just comparing how many badges you have and bragging about that, I'm fine staying away from that conversation. That's not something that I need to be, that's not where my value lies with how many badges that I have. I could care less. I hardly ever go to that screen and look at my badges and then just say, oh, I wish I had these other badges. I'm only missing 5 badges. That's not important to me. I know not everybody's me, but until ACR changes in terms of the rewards, it's not something that I'm going to spend time on.
Hey, I get it. I will say the All Cup ranking process and earning that silly little badge is the most fun I have in this game. For me, being able to enjoy all the tracks, we have so many great tracks, and the people who just play ranked, unfortunately, they don't get to play all those tracks very often. I mean, they can if they want, but it is fun being able to kind of go through, grind a track for 30 minutes, move on to another track, grind for 30 minutes, move on to another track, and I don't know. To me, that's All Cup ranking is what I enjoy the most. Is it the biggest reward? No, but at this point in time, I don't play this game for rewards. That's for sure. I just play this game because I like it.
I probably look at it a little differently, just because I'm spending probably as much time, if not more, on the spreadsheet than people do on
That's
ACR. So I don't have all this other extra time that I want to put on ACR. So you can focus on All Cup ranking. I'll focus on all spreadsheet ranking and go there.
You're the top of my all sheet ranking, if that ever mattered to you, Tabor.
Yeah, I'm full of all sheet.
That's amazing. All right, talk to us a little bit about the multi-use ranked items.
Yeah, so this stat I really like the most. This is one that I'm probably look forward to each time, just because, again, as a Gold Pass Plus player, I'm going to call myself that. I have limited tickets that I want to spend, so I want to make sure I use them in the most efficient way. So, if any character or item is used in ranked more than once, this is the list that you want to look at to see where it could benefit you in more than one place on the 6 ranked courses. So without just going through this list all the way down, I'll look at the top spots. And if you look at the top spot on each one of these lists, no surprise, it's all of our new items. Kamek is actually used 4 times in 4 of the 6 ranked courses this tour. He can be possibly used 4 times if he's leveled up enough. Now 3 of them are level 1 and 1 of them is a level 6. So if you got him and took him all the way to level 6, you could technically use him 4 different times, which is amazing for a Coinbox driver on this. We've had tours, I think last tour actually, we had 0 Coinbox drivers on any of the ranks. And now we've got, 4, where at least 4, possibly more, where you could use him. So, I mean, he's going to be really useful if you can get him and level him up. Then there's some other ones that are used twice. Nothing really to write home about. There is Pink Gold Peach that's used twice though, so she could be a big one because a lot of people already have her up there as well. For Karts, Kamek's Zoom Broom is one of the ones that is up there, and so it's used 3 times. Again, twice is level 1, 1 is level 6. Black Turbo Birdo, again, one of the ones that we can't say enough about, is also used twice. And for gliders, Dream Glider, again, the new glider in the game is used 3 times. Twice is level 1, 1 is level 6, as well as Black Grade Sail is used 3 times. Now, I will say this, all 3 times of the Black Grade Sail is used in ranked is completely all next week. So in week 2, if you've got Black Grade Sail at a level 6, you could use it in all 3 of the ranked courses next week. So it could really carry you pretty far if you decide to, if you're looking for that moment when you should finally take him from level 3 or level 4 to level 6, this would be the time between now and week 2, because it could really benefit you on those courses.
Yeah, I was gonna probably triple and cap it, but with my luck, I'll probably end up in Sammy's ranked again as I do that. That seems to always somebody's ranked, and I hate bursting the bubble. I love upgrading stuff and being one of the top of my friends on this, so I'm looking forward to being able to go balls to the wall. That'll be fun. As for the ranked tracks that have items unlocked, no unlocked items at level 3 or level 6 for the Ghost Valley 1, the remix version. But for Remix Valley Lake 1R, you have Penguin Mario, makes sense, level 6. Now, Luigi's Mansion T, there's a lot of things being unlocked at different levels, but nothing really sticks out. You're probably going to be using Pinkle Peach. You do have Nabbit at level 3 there for the drivers. As for the carts, nothing really sticks out there. You might have the Trickster at a high level that's going to be pretty solid there. But there's so many options on this track. Nothing really sticks out. The Star Shoot, having that at level 6, that's really helpful because that is a glider that we've had for a very long time, and one that people really enjoy putting tickets into, so you might want to look into that. As for Choco Island 2R, Tabor alluded to this before, the Black Rate Sail gets unlocked at level 6 there, and that's a solid glider, as you know, but it's great to have that on that track for sure.
Don't forget the Zoom Broom that belongs to Kamek in level 3. That's an option as well.
Well, I think he said, is it level 6?
Oh, level 6. I misread that.
So if you took your Zoom Broom that belongs to Kamek to level 6, yeah, go for it. But I haven't seen that many people put that many tickets into the Zoom Broom. I don't think it's a bad idea. But the Black Rate Sale, I can see. Yeah, well, I mean, being brand new, that just seems like a lot of tickets into something new. But the Black Rate Sale, having that at level 6 is a smart move. So that would be one to leverage it, as you alluded to. And then no lockdown items for the Ghost Valley 1T. No surprise there. Now, Bowser's Castle 2. This is where it gets a little interesting. Nothing really stands out from the drivers except for our boy Kamek. And this is where we're talking about 4 to the 6. Here he gets unlocked at level 6. If you have him at level 6, good on you. You are a good saver and a good spender, both in one. As for the Karts here, the Gilded King sticks out at level 3, so you might want to look at that premium challenge. And then for the gliders, nothing too much there. You got a Hanafuda in there. Nothing really too crazy, but you probably have a pretty good. You probably have top shelf. You probably are sitting pretty with Bowser's Castle 2, Luigi's Mansion T, the ones with the most unlocked there. So that's all we have for the right. Go on, anything, Tabor?
Yeah, just real quick on Bowser's Castle 2, Kamek is not the only Coinbox driver on the top shelf there. I believe Dry Bones Gold is a regular top shelf, is a level 1 top shelf. So if you already have, if you're debating whether you should take Kamek to level 6 to be able to use him, just check to see what your level of Dry Bones Gold is. You might already have him at a high level, and then you wouldn't need to do that. You could always use him.
Really good point. Really good point. So Tabor, man, these very, very patient viewers have waited this 2 hours and nearly 10 minutes. Thank you so much for joining. Please let us know if you have any comments about the new slides we talked about, the Boomerang overlap there, the Coinbox overlap for Kamek, etc. We really appreciate you guys taking the time and sitting down with us and reviewing this with us. Hopefully, our goal is really to involve you in our content. So if there's any way we could do that, please let us know. But thank you so much for your time today. Please look into our memberships. You get to be able to ask these questions, be live on our podcast, and a number of other perks. But thank you guys so much for joining. Tabor, you want to say goodbye to your fans? Maybe one last plug for your spreadsheet video?
Yeah, sure. Again, I just want to thank everybody who's followed along with us. I know this is a long video and a lot of data-driven stuff. If you can't get enough of this, like Studfit said, I'll be premiering my spreadsheet video later today at 4 o'clock Eastern. If that's something you're interested in doing, I'm going to talk about nerdy stuff like a spreadsheet, but you're going to see more Mario Kart stats than probably what you wanted to, what you were expecting. But you will then have the option. I'll show you how to get into it at any time that you want and look things up. I'm going to continue to update it each time, and you'll just basically putting this great resource in your hands and showing you what's involved. So if you're interested, look into that. That'll be I believe Studfit's going to put that in the link down below. But just let us know with comments or likes, or as he said, subscribe to Studfit. There's a lot of great things coming up with the update and the anniversary and who knows what else. So stay tuned. But again, thanks for joining us, everybody.
Yeah, we got some fun stuff coming. So don't use all your rubies, but definitely get Kamek. Until next time, may the frenzy luck be with you. See you guys.